Maybe the first time for any club in Ghana was not able to honor the first league match. There was nothing in the bank accounts. Kotoko owed Upper West Heroes, Robert Boateng, BA United, all the banks, every town you went to, hotels, and so on and so forth. The great Kotoko was simply in debt. It had not paid any player, enticement fee, salaries, winning bonuses were so far behind. So in terms, if it was a business, you would have liquidated it and started another business. Well, it was very difficult because we came, when I got into Kumasi with Ray Whelan and the rest, we went to the training ground. It was chaos. Then somebody said, oh, Otumfo's son, Nana Champenhene, and others wanted to see me at Menchia. So I said, oh, we're going to Accra. He said, no, you have to come. So we drove to Menchia. And we were prevented from entering. I think maybe protocols, maybe we were not of the right status, maybe we were not dressed appropriately. Whatever the reason is, we were turned away. And I remember the day very clearly because Kwabena Yeboah started crying. I don't know why at the time. And I was laughing. I said to Mr. Whelan, I said, "Hoy, can you imagine if we'd gone there and they said, take the club now, let's go to Accra." So we got in the truck, we were driving. We stopped on the way to buy fruit, take our time, listen to music. Kwabena Yeboah cried from Kumasi all the way to Accra. And when I reached Accra, my mother called me to chastise me. She asked me that, "Kojo, you are being silly again." I said, "What are you talking about, Mom?" He says, "No, you're going to cause trouble. And, you know, everybody's mom can lash their son. Even if you are 20 stones as I am in body weight, my mom can deal with me anytime." So she was dealing with me. She wouldn't let me talk. When she finished, she said, "Go and turn on the radio." When I turned it on, I heard there were riots in Kumasi. 11 people had been shot because after we had been turned away from the training grounds, supporters en masse, thousands, had marched on Menchia to demand to know why they had refused to see me. And I think a couple of the sub-chiefs had taken guns and shot the supporters. And 11 of the supporters were shot, something that many people forget to this day. And water cannon had been brought in by the police to disperse the crowd. That's how bad it had got. So I explained I knew nothing about it. And I then called the day or 2 days later to render apologies to Menchia, to one of the chiefs, that I don't know what that was all about, but it was not about me. And I was told I should come to Kumasi. So I went to Kumasi by myself. I remember I was holding, I can't remember, around about 20 million. I put it in the car that at least so, if Kotoko cannot honor a league match, if Kotoko are in this dire strait, I can render apology, hand over the money and say, my own little tiny contribution, I wish you well. So I came to Kumasi. I was then told that I should see Nana Champenhene, but he's at the House of Chiefs. I didn't know. I drove to the House of Chiefs. There was a big crowd outside. I went upstairs. He was busy talking to all the chiefs and the stakeholders of Kotoko, explaining that Menchia would find a solution to this embarrassing situation there. There was no money to run the club and so forth. So I stood in the background waiting to speak to Nana and the appropriate chiefs and go through the etiquette of withdrawal even though you had not been appointed. I have to give honor to the language in its fullest. And I've spent, since the mid-60s, I've not been here. I've been living, that's another story for another time, which I'll be very happy to discuss with you. Don't forget, my grandmother is 97, 98 this year. And she scolds me and chastises me and deals with me. And believe me, the old lady has no time for anything else. Nana Champenhene, when he saw me, made an announcement. He says, he then spoke English. "There is Herbert Mensah. I've been authorized by my father, Otumfo Opokuwari II, to announce today that the new chairman of Kumasi Asante Kotoko is Herbert Mensah." So that's how it happened. What could I say? At that point, there was pandemonium in the House of Chiefs. Supporters spilled into the hall. They started throwing powder, trying to carry me. Then I was taken to Menchia proper. I was put in a room. I waited about 30, 40 minutes for Otumfo Opokuwari to come down. He then took seat with 6 or 9 or 11 of his most senior chiefs sitting alongside. Then I was brought in and he told me to come sit next to him. He then explained that my father was his brother and I have been living abroad for a long time, so he was going to speak to me directly in English. So he did not go through the Ochiami. He spoke to me directly. And he said to me that, in a short summary, that, Herbert, what are you going to do with my club? I am suspending the constitution. I'm dissolving the board of directors. I'm giving you the club Kotoko for as long as you need it to fix it and to get it right. What are you going to do with Kotoko? I said, because he had brought in the media were there and so forth, and I said, well, Nana, if I'm being given the mandate, I see Kotoko to be too big. We should not be looking at Kotoko competing with Daewoo, or, with no disrespect, even great teams like 11 Wise, with no disrespect. And I guess in modern parlance, if they were around then, the Brokum, the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the Aduanas should not be mentioned in the same breath as Kumasi Asante Kotoko. So I'll be looking at a global approach for this club, which means breaking it down and rebuilding it, putting in structures that will ensure that over a period of time, the true greatness of Kotoko would come back. Privately, I said to him that my objective was not there to come and win all the trophies. My objective was to get Kotoko into a self-reliant position where it no longer had to depend on a single individual, on a single person to bring his money forward to run Kotoko again, which meant a completely different approach philosophically to how Kotoko would be run.
Guys out there, catch them Kotoko TV.
Oh, immediately. I mean, I had a fair idea.